You watch people build elaborate productivity systems, databases, dashboards, intricate workflows, hours invested in configuration. The systems look impressive, genuinely sophisticated, but something doesn't add up with the success stories. People showcase their setups constantly, but you never see the same system working again, unchanged 6 months later. It's always being rebuilt, reconfigured, optimized again. This works for reasons nobody explicitly names. The visible pattern is configuration impressiveness, but the invisible pattern is perpetual reconstruction. The systems feel productive to build, but they don't seem to stay built. This is about what's actually happening when customization is infinite and why the flexibility that enables perfect configuration prevents systems from becoming stable infrastructure. Here's what you can observe. People build Notion workspaces, complex database structures, linked properties, filtered views, template hierarchies. The initial creation demonstrates genuine skill, but then they observe the secondary pattern. Rebuilt workspaces after 2 to 3 months, starting fresh with lessons learned, new template discoveries requiring system restructuring, features update enable better configurations. The same person showing fundamentally different setup repeatedly. The pattern is about individual discipline. Some highly disciplined people exhibit this behavior. Some less disciplined people maintain simpler, stable systems. Discipline doesn't explain the configuration reconstruction cycle. The pattern is architectural. Something about infinite customization tools creates continuous configuration labor rather than one-time infrastructure building. Watch what happens across productivity tools. Fixed structure tools, email, calendar, basic spreadsheets get configured once and used for years. The stability comes from limited customization options. Flexible tools require ongoing configuration maintenance. The flexibility prevents stability. This is about configuration architecture, not user capability. Notion exemplifies this through infinite customization, enabling precise workflow matching. Not because databases and templates are inferior approaches, but because the tool enables configuration to match any workflow exactly, which means configuration skill never converts into stable infrastructure, creating perpetual dependency on operator expertise. Here's the actual structure. Traditional productivity tools force workflow adaptation to fixed structure. You learn the tool's constraints. Your skill becomes working effectively within limits. That skill accumulates into stable usage pattern. Infinite customization tools invert this. Workflows can match your needs exactly through configuration, but exact matching requires continuous reconfiguration as needs evolve. Configuration skills never convert into infrastructure. It remains perpetual labor. This is the mechanism. Systems offering infinite customization prevent skill to asset conversion by making optimal configuration requiring continuous operator expertise rather than one-time infrastructure building. The tool gives you database customization, but requires ongoing schematic maintenance, template flexibility, but templates need updating as workflows evolve. View configurations, but views require adjustment as data accumulates. Integration options, but integrations break with systems. You invest configuration skill, but that skill never converts into stable infrastructure requiring minimal maintenance. This is the universal law. Configuration architectures that optimize for workflow matching flexibility systematically prevent the skill to asset conversion required for maintenance free infrastructure. The constraint is architectural, not personal. Why would you stop optimizing when better configurations remain possible? Why would you accept good enough when the tool enables perfect? Why would you maintain something imperfect when rebuilding is always available? The rational response to infinite flexibility is perpetual configuration. Until you realize configuration skill never accumulated into infrastructure that works without you. Watch what happens when people copy impressive Notion setups. They replicate data structures, mirror template designs, clone filtering logic. The systems look identical. Then their workflows evolve slightly, and the copied system requires expertise the original builder has, but the copier doesn't. The impressive setup becomes maintenance burden rather than an infrastructural asset. Here's why imitation fails. This looks like productivity infrastructure, but it's actually perpetual configuration labor. Success with infinite customization tools comes from accepting continuous configuration work. The productive users are the ones with time and interest for ongoing system maintenance. People who fail are often those expecting configuration work to eventually convert into stable infrastructure requiring minimal expertise to maintain. You can't replicate Notion success by copying databases if you're unwilling to continuously reconfigure as needs shift. The pattern isn't about template quality, it's about configuration labor acceptance. This is the contrast. Appearance, building sophisticated productivity infrastructure through skilled configuration. Structure, creating systems requiring perpetual operator expertise rather than one-time infrastructure that operates independently. Compare that to stability optimized tools. You accept limited customization options. You adapt workflows to tool constraints. You sacrifice perfect matching to maintenance-free operation. You prioritize infrastructure stability over configurations flexibility. This is why some people build once and use forever, while others rebuild constantly, not because one group configures better, because tool architecture determines whether skill converts to stable architecture or remains perpetual labor. Imitation fails because visible setups don't reveal ongoing maintenance requirements. Copying impressive configurations misses the core mechanism, accepting that flexibility requires continuous configuration expertise rather than one-time infrastructure building that works without ongoing skill deployment. This creates a specific asymmetry. The more precisely configuration matches current workflow, the more maintenance it requires when workflow evolves. Perfect matching through infinite customization creates maximum decay rate. You optimize for present workflow at the cost of future stability. Fixed structure tools with imperfect matching create minimum decay rate. You accept a constraint that enables stability. This pattern predates his digital productivity tools. The same structure appeared wherever infinite customization was offered as superior to fixed systems. Custom-built businesses process created perfect workflow matching, but required continuous expert maintenance. Flexibility without stability. Standardized business systems with limited options created imperfect matching, but operated reliably without expertise. Constraint enabling infrastructure. The customization provider gave perfect workflow matching you configured, ongoing optimization options you maintained, flexibility for edge cases you managed complexity. In exchange, you gave infrastructure stability, maintenance-free operation, skill to asset conversion. That the technology changes, the configuration stability trade persists. This is why the pattern recurs. Perfect matching requires configuration matching exact current state. Exact matching maximizes decay rate as state changes. You can't simultaneously optimize for present perfection and future stability. The trade-off is mechanical, not moral. Here's what this explains. Why productivity tool is perpetual. New tools promise better flexibility. Users rebuild hoping this configuration will finally stabilize. But flexibility architecturally prevents stability regardless of tool choice. Why impressive setups decay rapidly. Complex configurations optimize for current workflows because less maintenance burdens as workflows evolve. Perfect matching creates maximum brittleness. Why simple tools often outperform sophisticated ones. Constraint forces workflow adaptation. Adaptation creates stable patterns. Stable patterns require minimal maintenance. Limited flexibility enables infrastructure. Why this isn't about feature quality. Notion's features work as designed. The architecturals deliver promised flexibility. The trade-off is structural. Flexibility for maintenance, not flexibility and stability. What observers systematically misread. The visibility of impressive configurations makes tool success look like infrastructure building. You see sophisticated setups. You see configuration skill. You assume stable productivity infrastructure. Actually, you're observing configuration labor that never converts to infrastructure. The sophisticated the sophistication is perpetual work, not accumulated asset. This explains the confusion. Configuration feels like building. It is building continuous building. But continuous building through borrowed flexibility creates different outcomes than one-time building producing stable infrastructure. Neither is wrong. They're architecturally different. The mechanism transfers. Any system offering infinite customization will produce this pattern. The tool changes. The configuration stability trade persists. You can customize everything, which means you must maintain everything. Perfect flexibility prevents stable infrastructure. This is why simple imitation produces unexpected outcomes. Copying sophisticated setups means accepting continuous maintenance most observers don't recognize configurations require. The impressiveness arrives. So the perpetual reconstruction. The structural constant. Configuration labor doesn't compound into infrastructure when flexibility remains infinite. Each optimization resets rather than accumulates. You're building continuously rather than building once. This is the same reason custom code requires maintenance while standard libraries run autonomously. Customization for perfect matching trades against stability enabling infrastructure. Here's what you can see now. The flexibility trade is universal. It appears in software, customizable versus standardized, processes, flexible versus fixed, organizations, adaptive versus structured. Every system offering infinite customization creates this trade. Perfect matching now for continuous maintenance later, or constraint now for stable infrastructure. Why you feel productive while rebuilding. Configuration requires skill deployment. Skill deployment feels like progress, but if skill never converts into infrastructure, progress is illusion, illusionary. You're working continuously, not building once. What infinite customization actually optimizes for. Users who enjoy configuration as ongoing activity. Users with time for perpetual maintenance. Users valuing present perfection over future stability. The tool isn't failing. It's selecting for specific use patterns. Why constraint often outperforms flexibility. Limited options force stable patterns. Stable patterns enable skill to asset conversion. Assets compound while labor resets. Flexibility prevents forcing. Without forcing, stability never emerges. Without stability, infrastructure never forms. The actual choice, not which tool is better, but do I want flexibility requiring continuous expertise or constraint enable stable infrastructure? Most users think that they're choosing the best productivity system. Actually, they're choosing between ongoing configuration work and one-time adaptation to fixed structure. The confusion comes from believing flexibility and stability can coexist. They can't when customization is infinite. This isn't prescription, it's explanation. Infinite customization architecturally prevents the skill to asset conversion that creates maintenance free infrastructure. Some people want flexibility despite maintenance costs. Some people want stability despite constraint costs. Neither is wrong. They're different architectural outcomes. The pattern explains why impressive setups don't stay built. Not because users fail to configure correctly, because configuration architecture prevents stability regardless of skill level. Most productivity tools won't realize their sophisticated configurations measure configuration skill deployment, not infrastructure accumulation, until they notice they've been rebuilding the same system repeatedly while stable infrastructure never formed.